Well, hello, I'm Corvette Hop. Thank you for the channel. This is the first time that we go live, and of course our goal is to keep those cars on the road. Hey, we'll discuss a couple things. One of the things we'll discuss is some of the videos that we have on this channel. We'll talk about the engine timing video, the choke adjustment video, and the fuel air mixture video. We'll also do a quick tour of this 1969 Corvette, and we'll entertain some questions. With that, let's go ahead and get started. One of the first videos that I've done was the engine timing video, in which I show you how to set up initial timing and then total advanced timing. Of course, if your car is already running, you don't need to set up initial timing. Go ahead and move toward total advanced timing. Now that video has gotten over 500,000 views on YouTube. I've gotten calls from Australia, England to Germany asking questions about the video, in which I thought was a very good video and helped a lot of people out. By the way, that's the total reason why I started doing the videos, was just to help people out. When doing that video on the engine timing, I had to look at 7 or 8 videos just to understand what they were talking about. So then I decided to make my own video, and that's how it got started. Another video is the choke adjustment. Now, the choke adjustment video I have has over 96,000 views. It's extremely popular in the northwest of the United States, northern tier states, and in Germany and some of the colder weather countries. That's simply just turning your choke to the right or to the left to get a richer or lean adjustment on your fuel when starting the car. Another top popular video, of course, is the fuel air mixture on the carburetor. Now, when I first started off with a Rochester carburetor, and I went farther and started working on an Edelbrock carburetor. That video has over 205,000 views. I have many videos on this channel. Of course, you're welcome to view every single one of them so that it helps you out to keep those cars on the road. Hey, we'll go ahead and get to one of the questions that was already sent to me. This question's from Peter Beveer from Spakenburg, Holland, the Netherlands. Peter asks, what is your opinion about a European sports car, specifically the Porsche and the Audi? And I would tell you, Peter, I have been all over the world. I have visited 52 different countries. I love all kind of cars. However, the most popular car that I like, of course, is the Corvette. I have driven the Porsche and the Audi. The Porsche is an extremely well-built car. The older models, I remember in the 60s and 70s, were prone to oil leaks and things like that, but the newer models are pristine. What I didn't like about the Porsche is that when I sit down in the cockpit area, the driver's seat, I felt like my body was kind of tilted a little bit to the side to get to the accelerator pedal and the brake and the clutch. So that was the only thing I didn't like about that car. However, it was extremely fast and extremely well built. Same with the Audi. Another car, of course, is a Volvo. Mercedes-Benz and BMW. Mercedes-Benz and BMW are starting, in fact they are, a lot of them are built right here in the United States, so those are more affordable to people here in the United States, while the Corvette is more affordable to people in the United States, but not so well in Europe. And that's because of the different tax and tariffs and all those kind of things. You can still get a Corvette for an extremely good price. I have a 2014 Z51 Corvette, and it's a cross between performance and luxury all in one. I love the way it performs. At the same time, you get a luxury drive when you're out on the highway. You feel like you're in a sports car. The electronics and stuff are absolutely amazing. So with that, Peter, bedankt for the question. Bedankt voor de vraag. Also a question from Annie Hutchins from Cornwall, England. Annie asks, how many years did it take to restore your 1969 Corvette, and does it have the original engine? It took me about 6 years to restore the 69 Corvette behind me. It does not have the original engine. In fact, that was the basis in part of some of the decisions that I made. For example, I have electric fans in this 69 Corvette. I have vintage air that took almost 20 pounds off the total weight of the car by putting vintage air in there with new technology, and it pushes out more volume cold air, especially in the convertible. So not the original engine, but I would tell you it took a lot of time, and you see a lot of those repairs and things right there on YouTube, and that's why I started doing it. You know, when I started doing these videos, the whole purpose was to help people out there in the community, and I think that's exactly what I'm doing. I try to hold true to that. I try to keep the videos basic, even for the novice or the more experienced person, because you never know who's looking at the video. That's the whole purpose of it. With that, I will go ahead and show you the 1969 Corvette. We'll come right back here to answer a few more questions. If I get any on the live chat, I do have another question that was sent to me in advance from, let's see, this one's sent from Germany. So we'll go ahead and move to that. You will see me move the camera around just a little bit so that I can adjust it and you can see. With that, let's go ahead and get started. I know that's what you really want to see, so let's go. This, of course, has a 350 Chevy engine. Originally, when I got it, it had the Rochester carburetor. I, in time, changed it to the Edelbrock. You will see the electric fans right there. One thing I learned by putting an electric fan in there, and I had to increase the amperage out of the alternator, something that I didn't anticipate. I also had to put, you'll see right over here, the relays in there. You'll also see right there the vintage air compressor. That was a lot of work. I mean, I think it must have took 5 or 6 days to do that, just by pulling out the old stuff and putting the new stuff in. I did the top end of the engine. I replaced the heads to include, like I mentioned, the carburetor and everything. Redid the whole fuel system. I also did the alignment on this car. I got a video out there on how to do wheel alignments. I would tell you, when doing wheel alignments, you always have to start from the rear, especially on a C3 Corvette, because of the shims that are right back here in this area right back there. And once those adjusted and aligned to the frame, then you can start working on the front end of the car. The interior of this car was almost completely refabbed. However, the gauges are original. Both the tach and the speedometer are original. The clock, it was swapped out to a quartz clock. You will notice that the radio has that antique look. However, it does have Bluetooth. The floors have been redone with carpet. I have hush mat under the carpet. C3s are prone to have a lot of heat and noise coming from the floorboard of the car. That helped extremely well, extremely a lot. Makes a whole difference in the ride of the car. Makes it more of a solid car, I guess you would say. I paid particular attention. You will notice the fiberglass. Every time I worked on one area, I took time to clean it and paint it and make it look right. I'm sorry, I didn't finish that. You'll notice the fiberglass leaf springs. Also new shocks, front and back. I did the body work. However, I had it painted by a professional. Simply, I think the homeowner association wouldn't let me paint the car in the garage, I'm sure. If I could, I would. Because for me, it's just a learning experience. I had probably 3 areas that was repaired on this car with Bondo. I took all the Bondo off and then repaired it the correct way with fiberglass. I think that was the right thing to do. You really didn't get a good look at the hood. I'll go ahead and close this and get the hood. There we go. See, I put the pinstripe in the center of this car. I love that. I think it stands out. Everything works. With the vacuum, of course, the headlights, the wiper door opens up. You know, I did some work on the A-pillar on this car. I also have a video out there on how to replace a windshield, in which I worked in all these areas here because this trim wasn't lining up when I started looking at it. And the reason it wasn't lining up is because the windshield sunk down into the frame. So when I pulled it all out and I saw some of the rust and things under there, I got it all fixed, had a professional welder come in here, and then I went to work at it. With that, you'll see some more movement on the camera. Back to the desk, and we'll go back to that last question and see if there's any questions on the live chat. Alright, there we go. I think we made it back here. I will go ahead and look at live chat to see if there's anything there. Here, let's see. Your headlight reinstall and body mount install videos inspired me to complete them on my 1976 model. Well, thank you. I will tell you, from The experience of making video, one of the best rewards for me is to hear comments like that. To me, that's just absolutely amazing. That means I helped somebody out there. To me, that's the best reward that I can get when working on videos. Continue to send those comments. If you have a question or something like that, go to the channel, send me a comment on the channel. You know, if you want to know something or you want to see a video coming up or something like that, let me know. I'd be happy to look at it. I won't tear something up just to do a video, but I will sure think about doing one when I'm in that area and working on it next. Here's another question that I got from Carola Mittendorf from Spacebach, Germany. She says, does your video on life lessons have a message for the viewer? Thinking of my childhood, that's what the video was about, my military career, and of course the death of my son. I would tell you, Carola, that question hits a soft spot in my heart. That was probably the most, in fact it was the most difficult video to make because it's personal. It's all about, you know, when I was young in a children's home, how I ended up in a children's home, how I overcame that and became who I am today. Touching in my own heart. If you get time, you know, most of the videos that I have on this channel are about the Corvettes, about doing maintenance, repair, and those kind of things. There are a couple of them that are public speaking events that I've done around the world. That video is called My Life Lessons. It's kind of a silent video where I just pull up a piece of paper and then you read the paper of that point in time of my life. And I would tell you, if it doesn't touch your heart, I would be extremely amazed. When you get an opportunity, go ahead and look at that. Look at all the other ones that are out there on the channel. I'll look at live chat again here. He says my 74 Corvette is a death trap. You know, very good point, and that's because Corvettes are fiberglass. I would tell you that my wife has said that many times when I drive this car here, is because it's not really built for safety. In fact, if you think about how the seat belts are mounted inside the car, for this one being a convertible, straight to the floorboard, and while there is some metal reinforcement on the bottom of the floorboard, even that metal reinforcement mounts straight to fiberglass. So yes, be extremely careful when you're out there driving those cars, especially at high speeds like in Europe. Out here on these roads here in Texas, you can get up to 80 miles an hour, which is nothing compared to the Autobahn. But hey, you're absolutely right. Be safe out there. Take them to the shows. Always drive safe. In fact, you'll notice that when I cover my videos, I always cover safety, especially when jacking a vehicle. Always think safety. Hey, there's somebody here from Denmark in Europe. I've been to Denmark too. A great, incredible place. In fact, last year I was actually in Australia, an also beautiful place. Like I said, I've been to 52 different countries all around the world and absolutely love it. Here's Peter. He's got a comment. He said, put a new 350 290 GM crate engine. Haven't called it the tow truck in 2 years. Well, that's a good thing. I'm assuming that means it's running. So if that's the case, then great on you. This was actually a crate engine on this one originally. However, I mentioned before, it is the original time year engine of the car. But I absolutely love that car. The good thing about 350s is they're easy to work on. You don't need to hook up an electronic device and all those kind of things when working on the car, which I like. What I really like is the old classic look of the 69. Hey, you know what I didn't show you? Is I didn't show you the 2014 that I have right here in the driveway. I'll show you that just quickly and then we'll come right back here. I'll jump to this last question unless I get more questions on the chat. Let me show you that real quick. A quick jump to the driveway. This is a 2014 C3 Corvette. This one has about 680 horsepower just because of the modifications that I have on the car. It actually has a Z51 package. You can tell that usually simply by if it has the chrome wheels on it. There are Z51s that don't have the chrome wheels. Extremely amazing vehicle, especially performance wise. This is what it looks like on the inside. Like I mentioned before, if you're going to drive a car and you're looking for a great sports car, this is the one to have. You'll notice the carbon fiber dash. I actually took that entire dash out, had it carbon fibered, or at least carbon fiber dipped, and then put it all back in. You could probably tell that I absolutely love working on cars. Even the wife likes driving this car. Okay, back to the live chat. Have a 1969 Corvette convertible and a coupe. Both with small blocks, but the coupe has the small block 427. Now that's got to be an amazing performance car. Wow. I don't know where you're located at, but wow. Oh, right here. I can see right here. You're in Denmark. That's unusual. I would tell you, when I was touring Europe, I did not see many Corvettes, and I especially didn't see many classic Corvettes. I saw a few in Holland. They call it Big Boys Toys in Holland at a place that I went to, and they had some classic Corvettes. The C3 was probably the most popular Corvette there at the time. Here's one from Bavaria, Germany. A Dart. There you go. Hey, with that, I'm going to jump to the last question. Unless I see another one that pops up on the live chat, then we'll end it out there. If you do have a question, then go ahead and ask. I won't cut it off short, believe me. Let me just go ahead and go over here to live chat. Said I watched your body mounts video so many times before I decided to do it on my own. This was a huge help. I would tell you the body mount video was probably one of the most scariest videos for me to do. One, because I actually was jacking one half of the body up at a time. I would set it back down, replace those body mounts, and then go to the other half. It was challenging. It was somewhat different. The whole body of this 69 car, I guess you could say the whole body of the 69 car has actually been off the frame. When I did that video, I cleaned up the body of the car, the frame and everything in that area where I did the shims. I measured how many shims that I took out and went back in. Before I started taking those shims out, I sprayed it with WD-40 for like several weeks, just so I could not tear those body mounts up, especially the body mount bolts, when I went for the replacement. To me, that was a challenge. I didn't want to have to cut anything out of there, and by the luck of God, every single one of them came out, and I was able to put them back in and torque them in. In fact, that reminds me, I probably need to go back and check the torques on those body mounts sometime soon. But hey, thank you for making that comment. Hey, here's one. Glad to have an opportunity to thank you now. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, that was right on top of that. Hey, that's, like I said before, that's exactly why I do those videos. I just did one on the starter motor. In fact, I think I posted it on Friday or Saturday. And the reason I did that is because I was getting a lot of calls and a lot of messages from people who they just wanted to know the correct placement of the wires on the starter motor. When they took them off, they were confused, and when they wouldn't put them back on, they were even more confused. So, simple video. It only takes about 3 minutes. I showed you some good pictures in there and video at the same time. In the video, I think I mentioned pictures worth 1,000 words, so that's exactly why I did that video, and hope that one helps you out too. Also, again, if you want more videos, you want me to tackle a specific area, I'm probably going to do the dash, main dash area where the speedometer and the tax. Again, just so the simple fact is when I put the LED lights in there, I didn't get behind it because I didn't really want to pull it all the way out. So the next time I have a bulb or something that goes bad in there, I am going to do a whole video on pulling out the whole dash, that area there where that steering column is at. I should have done one on the fuel tank. I have a brand new fuel tank in this 69 Corvette that I replaced probably about 3 years ago. That was a little bit of a job simply because it's real hard to get up in there, and you had to jack the car up high enough to get to it. But man, I would tell you, I don't think there's probably not a bolt or washer that I haven't replaced or at least touched on this car. So to me it was all a learning experience, and that's actually what I loved most, is learn it, get in there and do it. I'm not afraid to jump in there, probably because of my aircraft maintenance days when I was in the Air Force. I know tools. By all means, I'm not a professional mechanic. I just like getting in there and fixing it. One thing I learned, when you jump in there and you may break something like I have many times, is that's the challenge that you take. And with that understanding, knowing that, hey, I'm learning, but I may have to replace the part, or I may get more involved than what I thought. hey, jump in there and do it. I would tell you I probably saved on this repair, on this build of this car, I bet I've saved $10,000 to $15,000 in maintenance costs. There's no doubt about that. Here's a question. Just installed a 1988 T5 WC transmission in my 350 convertible today. I hope I can fire it up next weekend. Wow, that's a big job. I have a TH400 transmission in this car right here. I have pulled it out along with the differential in this car. And like I said, when I work on a car, especially a classic car, I clean it up and sand it down and repaint it, and that's exactly what I did with that transmission and that differential. I rebuilt it as much as my capability would allow, and then went and restalled it again. But that was a lot of work. Again, when I pulled the transmission and differential, the car had to be jacked up a little bit higher than normally. So what I did is I actually have some truck jacks that allow me to get that extra height on it. I put some wood on the jack so that I can actually get it higher. Put those on there, and you'll see probably in some of my other videos, I love using the Rhino ramps. That gives me an extra safe measure when I jack the car up every time. Of course, I always back that up with hardcore jacks just in case they fell. I always think of everything when I work on something safety, double. What I mean by double is that every time if something fails, you got a backup for working on that car. It's not worth risking leg and limb or your life, especially for those of us like myself that have to work on the car many times all by yourself. With that, here's another question by a TH200-4R. Yeah, I've actually thought about that as far as the transmission. This one, especially in the high speeds, when I get up to the high speeds on the highway, the 70 and 80 miles an hour, you just don't have that passing, those passing gears for the transmission. This is also automatic, if you notice that. Man, if I had to do it all again, I would definitely get a manual. I just love manual cars. No doubt about that. I would do the same thing as far as the repairs and everything, but that's exactly what I would do. Hey, with that, it was extremely pleasurable talking with you. Like I said before, leave those questions on the channel. Think about other things you want me to do. Oh, here's another question, and one more before we go, and then I'll close it out. I've had my 76 dash completely apart. What a mess of wiring, vacuum cleaning, definitely daunting. Yeah. Do you have a recommendation for upgrading the steering? Well, that's a different one there. So I'll answer both. When I did my dash in this car, I went ahead and did all the wiring. In fact, when I did the wiring, I sanded down the dash portion where everything mounts, painted it. I don't know if you worked with PR15 paint before, but that is amazing paint, and it sticks and it dries to a very hardness to the body or to the frame or whatever you're painting. Nothing's going to rust under that. That's the good thing, and the purpose of it, of course, is rust prevention. But once you put that top coat of PR15 on the surface of what you're painting, man, it stays good forever. So I did that with the dash area. Once I pulled everything out, I rewired everything. That's one thing that I learned in the Air Force, was wiring and all those kind of things. But I would tell you the wiring harnesses that you can buy nowadays are exact duplicate of what it was original. So you pull a connector off, or I call them cannon plugs, or a light fixture or something like that, it goes right back in exactly the same. The great thing about today's technology is now when you pull things out, take a lot of pictures, that when you go put it right back in, it's exactly the same. But the wiring harnesses that you get today, while they're somewhat expensive, are exact to the manufacturer specs. So when you go put it back in, they go exactly where they were before. So take a lot of pictures, put it all in good. I would tell you, when I did that, I probably solved 4 electrical errors in this car just by doing it. Simple things like the door lights, the door buzzer, the choke. So I had a tail light that wasn't working. I couldn't figure out for the longest time, but once I replaced that wiring harness, boom, everything got fixed. That would be one of the things I would do, especially with your classic car. Somebody on here, somebody mentioned about recommendation to upgrade to a steering column. You know, there are some certain things on this C3 Corvette that I do like, and one of that is the steering system. I know some of the older Corvettes do not have, you know, still have the old manual steering, not the power steering. Actually, some of the cases with the brakes too. By the way, did you know this 69 has fiber optics in it? Some people didn't know that. That was one of the first years they put fiber optics in a 69 Corvette. This one has full functional fiber optics in it. That was one of the great things that came with the wiring system too. But hey, stick with what you like. If that's the better steering system that you like based on performance, then go with it. That's one thing I would recommend when building your car. Build it how you like it. Even when it goes, hey, do you keep everything original? Do you not keep everything original? Do you go with the classic look? Do you go with a new look? Now I've seen some of the cars sold on the car shows for hundreds of $1,000s, and it's a brand new car. You got electronic digital gauges in it, everything with the steering, the wheels, everything is all brand new to brand new technology. But here's the difference. You're the one driving the car, so make it how you like it. That's the most important thing. Hey, with that, I will just go ahead and close out. Please do leave questions in the columns when you get opportunities. I will ask other questions. If you leave some in there, I'll pick a few out. And I'll ask those next time. If I didn't get to your questions here, if you would post those, and I'll try to look at some of these and maybe even ask those. I'll try to be on next Sunday around the same time. So we're looking at, for me, it was around 12 o'clock on Sunday, Central Mountain Time here in the United States. I know that's different times over in Europe and over in Australia and all those kind of things. But hey, we'll try to do the best we can with that. Go in there and look at some of those other videos. The life lesson videos might be a good motivational one. I think I have a couple other motivational videos on there too. With that, hey, the best thing to do, I would tell you, is to keep those cars on the road. And I say that every time I do one of these videos. So seriously, keep those cars on the road, not in the garage, out on the road. With that, we'll go ahead and end. With that, everybody have a great Sunday and a great week. We'll see you next Sunday.